Hey you geeks! The Lost Metal dropped a few weeks ago, and I hope I've given you enough time to read it. The end of Arrow 2 was not what I was expecting, but still utterly satisfying.
They say you gotta go out, but they don't say you gotta come back in.
So, strap in as I spoilerifically break down this book's characters, world building, and plot, along with hints of Oathbringer, Elantris, and the Emperor's Soul. You have been warned. Wayne. Brando was very considerate, telegraphing Wayne's death very early on. Back when the prologue was dropped in pre-release days, the general consensus of the fandom was Wayne was super dead.
You're dead, 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 dead!
Thus, even the first time through, I could prepare and pick up every little hint Sando dropped for us. Even non-sequiturs like Wayne's familiarity with stretchy ropes were plot relevant when we realized that Wayne is a masochist. In Sando's wide range of characters, I think that Wayne is the first character who enjoys pain because it means he's alive. This isn't surprising, as many of the funny guys in the real world have a darkness within them.
Man suffers enormous amounts of pain and dies.
This book, we see Wayne wrestle with his darkness, his past, and achieve redemption by just being a good man. It was so satisfying to see Wayne's humor and darkness balance inside him to unleash his inner hero. Not just saving the town, but what he does with his money, giving it mostly to Ariandra, in possibly my favorite scene in the entire Cosmere. Wax. His character development was mostly external and quite subtle throughout, though I didn't quite catch all the clues that he was a Mistborn the first time through, but I did pause at the car chase scene to text my friend and say that I was worried that Wax was feeling the thrill. In hindsight, I'm pretty sure that was pewter, which explains why he was able to turn it off and on so easily, killing bad guys one moment and philosophizing with Wayne over beer the next. The best kind of philosophizing, let me assure you. Though, with Scadrial lacking a moon, Sando had to resort to calling his beer, not distilled liquor, Logshine. Coming from a long and established culture of both brewers and moonshiners, I'm a bit offended by that. I found Wax's thoughts on redemption very interesting. My culture has a very clear route for a person to be forgiven. However, outside of that route, forgiveness still exists as a very abstract concept. Wax's speech lets me peek into such a world, because on Scadrial, I buy that Sazed, or rather Harmony, on his best days never claimed to be able to forgive wrongs. And as far as we know, the God Beyond has been silent on the subject. On the whole, it was fun to read Wax finding peace with all of his different roles as father and lawman and senator, and even Harmony's sword. I enjoyed seeing Wax then use his inner peace to inspire Wayne to grow to be the hero to save them all. Marisi. On the one hand, her arc was a little bit rinse and repeat of the last 3 books. Marisi is confronted with problems larger than her, and has to overcome her inferiority complex to face them. On the other hand, this is the sort of conflict that adults face every day. Though Marisi got the magical touch of her cousin flaring her emotions of shame during her climactic fight with Introne to keep things fresh. Although Marisi actually makes a different decision this time. Although she gave up her big chance with the Ghostbloods, she still decided to move on from being a constable to being an ambassador and possibly a politician. This book really highlighted how like Ellen's Venture Marisi is, a bookworm who wants to do good in the world and is comfortable with empowering the masses, provided that a greater sense of order for the common good is maintained. The Ghostbloods have no respect for any such order, and that is why I am so happy she did not join them. Steris. Her anxiety is so real and relatable. I once stopped a whole room's conversation asking if we had a plan for if the local nuclear power plant exploded. Sanderson perfectly captures the anxious person's knowledge of when they've crossed the line, though they're not quite sure where that line was. To see Steris put in a perfect situation where she could finally show her talents and be appreciated was beautiful. It's definitely a wallflower's fantasy to have everything fall apart so that they can show their true worth.
If Anne will stay, there is no one so proper, so capable.
I've never indulged in such fantasies, of course. I'm a little annoyed that Steris is such a prepared mother. I was so ready to see Max put into a situation where he would snap and get magical powers. Sando has said that snapping is less traumatic now that Harmony is in charge, but I'm sure that one good Sanderlanche would have done the trick. But that is a minor fault because, on the whole, Steris saved the city from the ruin that Harmony would have allowed. Alec is criminally underused in this book. I appreciate that Sando, unlike every other fantasy author I've read, doesn't just make his pseudo-Scandinavians bloodthirsty Viking types. They overlook that Scandinavia has a rich history of frilly doilies and delicious pies.
Big summer blowout.
So, Alec as a pastry chef is a good fit for his character. Though with Steris dealing with Ambassador Dahl in the governor's plotline, Alec would have had something to do. On the bright side, Alec as Marisi's emotional support was beautiful this book. He kept her grounded in the face of all the Ghostblood shiny new toys. However, I don't feel like their relationship got adequately closed off. Calling them partners after they've been dating for 4 years? And I can believe that Alec and Marisi have cultural reasons for not wanting to get engaged at the end. However, without Sanderson clearly establishing what their dynamic was, this arc still feels unfinished. Inspector Gadget. Sando can be a slippery scoundrel sometimes. All this time, he's been building up Atium as the lost metal, but now I'm pretty sure it's actually Lerasium. And if you think about it, that has been lost since the Well of Ascension. On the topic of rare items, let's not overlook the awakened safe in the Ghostbloods' hideout. Thus, the Ghostbloods casually have an awakened metal box that isn't destroying the world. Yet all the attention the narrative gives it is, ooh, cool toy.
That's not bad. But this...
Then it's immediately followed by the revelation that the Ghost Bloods have unkeyed door just lying around. Putting the Ghost Bloods' cool gadgets aside, we also have the broadsheet saying that Naj has found a method of hopping into the cognitive realm without a perpendicularity. I had previously discounted the inventions of the broadsheet adventures, but words of Brandon at Dragonsteel has convinced me otherwise. The idea of a portable perpendicularity has been around since Oathbringer. So, what the set did with the door isn't exactly mind-blowing, though it is very cool. What is mind-blowing from the set is that with spikes, they are creating drab Scadrians. Sando has mentioned before that everyone on Scadrial is the tiniest bit invested, and now we see it being harvested. This is terrifying. Shipping war. Nothing riles a fandom like a shipping war. Katara, Zuko, and Aang, Bella, Edward, and Jacob. However, I'd like to think that I've grown beyond the unhealthy love triangle trope. Rather, I hope that Sando is building to another kind of shipping war. The Lost Metal clearly draws the lines of this new commercial shipping war. Team Kelsier versus Team Hoyd. Should I have t-shirts made? Maybe Team Flower versus Team Flute. People talk about how ethical the Ghost Bloods are on Scadrial, and sure, they're all nice, but let's not forget that even gentlemanly Twin Soul would have left a room full of innocent people to get gassed until Marisi ordered them to do otherwise. Here is where audiobook listeners are going to miss things. Codenames' real name in Elantris was pronounced K-Ice, keeping the Aeon distinct. In the Lost Metal, her name is pronounced K-Sa.
Who the hell are you?
The next big question is what Kesa is doing with the Ghost Bloods. She is the daughter of a pirate king after all, and she did set herself up as a rival to Serene, who had Hoyd in her employ. So maybe Kesa had a falling out with her deific relatives. Moonlight or Shay makes more sense as a Ghost Blood, since Hoyd let her to rot in the Rose Empire prison after they stole the Moon Scepter together. Her codename of Moonlight makes sense on so many levels. Meanwhile, Team Hoyd has Dalinar's Radiance, the Harmony Squad, and presumably Elantris. I'm on Team Hoyd, clearly, but let me know what team you're on down in the comments. No birds. I think Sanderson hit every single conspiracy theory in this book except the Jesuits, unless you count an homage to the City of Heresy plot from Full Metal Alchemist.
You really are a novice, aren't you?
With hints of hemalurgic chimeras and, of course, Shay and her magic from Shing. Okay, it's called the Rose Empire, but it's still Shing. Cell gives off so many FMA vibes that it's rubbed off onto Scadrial, removing the Three Musketeers vibes I was getting in the earlier books. But Scadrial still brings its other secrets to the table, like the Truman Show fake apocalyptic twist.
An aircraft in trouble began shedding parts as it flew over Sea Haven just a few moments ago.
And don't forget the Terraceman V-shaped graffiti, which I count as an homage to V for Vendetta. The set did want to blow up the Elendel Senate building, along with the rest of Elendel. Scadrial has always been a planet where conspiracy theories come true, and Sanderson did enough work this series to make me believe it, limiting the set's influence to control of just one city, Bilmain. Also, Marisi's adventure plays more off of Plato's allegory of the cave more than I view it as a political commentary. Though the community is not much of a cave, it's much more of a
Secret tunnel! Secret tunnel!
This is probably the first fiction that was enriched by 2020. Sanderson's details of wearing a cloth mask is just so right. Also, as we all know, 2020 was just an elaborate hoax by the Illuminati to go and recharge the drones that we believe are birds. Thus, for Era 3, I fully expect the set or the Ghostbloods to have replaced all the birds on Scadrial with drones. Thus, the Cosmere will only be left with chickens.
There ain't nobody here but us chickens.
Best version. Overall, The Lost Metal was more of a character-focused book, more like Brandon's ruminations on what it means to be the best version of yourself. This, we get the evil twin plot antics.
What you're seeing up there on that stage is the truth.
And Marisi is left wondering if Officer of the Law is what she truly wanted to be. These character-focused arcs did hint at larger worlds and plots to come. This wasn't what I expected from a series finale. It was fun to see Cosmere spanning X-Men shenanigans.
We're government agents now. We should have secret code names.
But Sando's jump into a Cosmere-connected universe means that he, like Marvel movies today, have to spend time explaining why the Avengers aren't coming. This book gave us the insight into the Ghostbloods which we needed for the Stormlight Archive, but didn't give us the history of the set and closure on other smaller details, which is what I expected. The Lost Metal still carries Sando's charm. Wayne maladroitly makes a steel push, and we have a random new character's perspective on Wax's epic landing on the boat. All in all, The Lost Metal is an ending in the Cosmere, but it is not the ending by any estimation. Rather, it may mark the beginning of the end of the beginning. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.